Hello and welcome to our mega mini hot stuff edition of the Electronic Cafe. This is one of those episodes where Mark and I are going to tell you about some of the albums we're loving right now to make your ears happy. Really pleased that we're doing this. Obviously we wish we could do it more often because we promote a lot of new music on Facebook, but this gives us an opportunity to tell you what you should be looking out for and some of the stuff we're loving.
Okay, the reason we do these hot stuff episodes is to bring to people's attention albums that we think people would be interested in or we would like people to discover. As you know, predominantly these are new albums, but clearly there is a rich vein of highly influential older albums which we'd like to share, and from time to time we do. For that reason, for this episode, I will be doing one new album and one old album.
Before we do that, what are you all doing on March the 16th next year? I'll tell you what I'd like to be doing. Electronic Cafe Live Volume 2 at Club 229, Great Portland Street. We're going to be there. Some amazing artists are going to be there. We have Peter Dougal. We have the amazing Tiny Magnetic Pets. We have the incredible Wolfgang Fleur. Yes, the Wolfgang Fleur from Kraftwerk headlining the show, along with an absolute legend in Mark Reeder, who's going to finish the evening with an incredible DJ set to give you all your feet of flames and leaving that place very happy. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, I'll ask Mark to put a link right below. Get your tickets while you can. They're selling fast because that is one incredible lineup that we've got to say. March the 16th, 2024, Club 229, Electronic Cafe Live, Volume 2. We'd love to see you there. Really looking forward to having a great night with you guys. Right, to the music. So, hot stuff. Number one for me that I want to talk about. I've been putting this on our Facebook page, the incredible Atom Brigade by Atom Brigade. This is a gloriously assured, blissful audio assault of 80s post-punk, sort of electro-pop. It just sounds so cool and fresh as hell. This is the debut album from an online supergroup consisting of Martin Jensen from the very much loved Home Current. Love that music. And obviously the very talented Mr. Rupert Lally, again, an artist that we really admire on the Electronic Cafe. So here's the story. I think Jensen reached out to Lally in 2020, kind of sketching out the idea to workshop some new material via long-distance file sharing. I think the following year, the work really started and this music really started to ramp up as they kind of arrangements began to get fleshed out and start finding some kind of coherent shape. And I love this, that Rupert Lally recalls the collective to and fro. He said, like, Martin sent a bunch of ideas, which generally included a beat, a bass line, and maybe some sort of melodic idea. He then overdubbed guitars and synths. But what I love about this, neither of them told the other what sort of things to play, what type of sounds to use. In reply to that, Martin Jensen said it was a very straightforward, natural and intuitive exercise. In addition, Rupert sent a couple of unfinished tracks for him to add to and everything virtually went into a pot of music. I love this, that they said they just stirred up. I mean, talk about geniuses at work. As the stuff became more advanced, it became clear they really want to put some vocals on it. So Jensen recommended UK-based Oliver Scherer and US solo artist Amanda J. And what a brilliant, inspired move that was. It just added that final bit of fairy dust sparkle to what I think is a remarkable album. Stepping back from the intricate stages of such a multi-layered process spanning both continents and time. For me, it's amazing how these interactions evolved into such a musically stunning creation. There is a warm sense of head-nodding familiarity throughout, sort of invoking the spirit of some forgotten record box classic brought back to the future. You really need to check this out. I don't know if there's such a word, but I'm saying this is ear-tinglingly good. And if I just created a new word, great. But I just think this is one of the best albums I heard this year. Absolutely falling in love with it. I know a few of our friends on Facebook have said the same when I posted this. But can't recommend this highly enough. I say Atom Brigade by Atom Brigade. If you're a real vinyl junkie like me and Mark, I'd really hurry up on Bandcamp because last time I looked there was only 8 copies left on vinyl. So if you want on vinyl, move fast because this is going to be sold out pretty soon. But an amazing album. Hope you like it.
first Hot Stuff album choice is this, The Ballad of Darren, the 9th studio album by Blur. Although Damon Albarn seems to be one of the busiest men in music with his many musical projects, this is the first Blur studio album since The Magic Whip in 2015, which hardly included guitarist Graham Coxon. It is produced by James Ford, who seems to be the in-demand producer at the moment, having just finished work with Depeche Mode and Arctic Monkeys. In the past, he has worked with Gorillaz, which is clearly where Damon Albarn knows him from, and he is currently working on the new Pet Shop Boys album. A new Blur album is something that, for me personally, I wasn't expecting. When I heard about it, I was fearful. I was fearful of a Britpop, jolly Cockney lads sing-along type album with songs like Park Life or Girls and Boys, but thankfully I was wrong. Blur are better than that. Ballad of Darren is a mature, polished, nostalgic and melancholic sounding album and very age appropriate for 4 middle-aged men. It is an album written by Damon Albarn while on tour with Gorillaz in 2022, and it contains for me one of my favourite songs of 2023, The Narcissist. The album is brilliantly produced and has that lush, laid-back feel to it, conjuring up the ghost of melodramatic To The End on the Park Life album. Although melancholic, The Ballad of Darren doesn't feel sad, and it has a depth and sparseness, mixing traditional instruments with electronics, and for me, one of my favourite albums of the year. If you haven't heard it already, go check it out. It really is a lovely, lovely album.
You were the hero, I was the dark room. I'm the shining light in your eyes. You probably shine it back on me, but I won't fall this time. With Godspeed.
Okay, so the next album I want to talk about is by the rather fabulous Cindy Wilson. The album's called Realms. For those who know Cindy, obviously better for the stuff she does, the B-52s. Her greatest records, I think, will always be those albums that she made with those people. You know, her vocal blend with bandmates Freddie Schneider and Kate Pearson become inseparable from their music. She's almost like the centre-holding pillar that fortifies all their collective strengths, but on her own she's achieved a guide position for this music, serving rounds inside and out without ever getting in the way of the songs, if that makes sense. I think she brings a real gravitas and stability to the music. The opener, Midnight, kicks off with big synths. There's a great robotic groove that kind of sets the mast for the journey going through Realms. Like the best B-52s tracks, nothing gets too serious, which is what I love them for. Daydreams, Nighttime Revelry, basic self-help tips are all classic sort of Wilson staples. They're just kind of wheeled out in this album, just in a fresh new wrapper. But there's a much more sense of electronic synth influence on this, which I love. There's like an industrial goth on the track Daydreamer, and there's like these new wave tones in Wait. And there's almost like a soft ambience that underlines the track called Hold On. There's a Giorgio Moroder-like beat that drives Delirious. And what I like about Realms, it flitters around electronic music's past 45 years with absolute ease, to be honest. And I think Wilson has the total right to revisit that past because she had a big part to play in it. And in this album, she seems to float above it all with almost like approving majesty. And I like This Is Not Goodbye she sings as the album fades to a close. And, you know, I know the B-52s are doing some kind of farewell shows in Vegas, and I'm hoping they'll expand that more globally because I'd love to see them before they do. You know, and I hope for this album, it certainly really don't think it is going to be goodbye for Cindy. It's surprisingly good. I didn't know what to expect from this. Obviously, I've loved her work with the B-52s. It's like she's found her inner synth goddess, and it's well worth a visit. Really surprisingly good. Check it out. It's Realms by the fabulous Cindy Wilson.
My second Hot Stuff selection is an album released in 1980 and deserving of much greater things. Zaine Griff is a New Zealander and he released this, his first solo album, Ashes and Diamonds, in 1980. Zaine Griff launched his solo career a year earlier in 1979 with future film music composer Hans Zimmer and Ultravox's drummer Warren Cann in his backing band. Zaine Griff was lauded by the 80s new romantic club scene, not in that androgynous, frilly-shirted way, but in a kind of way that David Bowie was. Many parallels were made with David Bowie at the time. Along with Griff's Aladdin Sane-inspired persona, Tony Visconti was also brought in to produce this album. It was during the recording sessions for Ashes and Diamonds that David Bowie walked into the studio to visit Tony Visconti and was slightly taken aback by the resemblance between himself and Zaine Griff. Despite this, Bowie invited Griff to be briefly part of his backing band. Zaine Griff also studied mime under Lindsay Kemp alongside Kate Bush, as did David Bowie, who considered Lindsay Kemp to be a mentor. And Zaine Griff has also worked musically with Kate Bush, Yukihiro Takahashi from Yellow Magic Orchestra, and in 1983 Zaine Griff collaborated on 6 songs for Hans Zimmer and Warren Cann's ambitious Hilden album Spies. 3 singles were taken from the Ashes and Diamonds album, Tonight, Ashes and Diamonds and Run, but it's the brilliant Ashes and Diamonds track that I guess he is best known for. The second Zaine Griff album, Figures, was released in 1982 and it saw Hans Zimmer stepping up to be the full producer. After recording with Midge and Gary Newman, Zaine Griff returned to New Zealand in 1984. Zaine Griff still records today, but this album joins the dots and connects so many entities in music, people and art around that time, and if you don't know or you don't own it, I suggest you check this album out.
We repeat ourselves like crystals that dissolve and then they crystallize again. Words without thinking, the morning after ends. Ashes and diamonds, ashes and diamonds.
So that's it for another brilliant episode of Electronic Cafe. We hope you love the albums that Mark and I recommended to make your ears extremely happy. I say, don't forget, get your tickets for Electronic Cafe Live Volume 2. And if you love reading about all the stuff that Mark and I love, you need to check out the forthcoming issue of Blitzed magazine. Mark and I were fortunate enough to be out with the publisher Tom the other day, one of the nicest guys on the planet. Hi, Tom. And the content in the next issue coming out in September is absolutely amazing. Check it out. If you haven't subscribed to it, you need to. It's the best for magazine out there for people like us. Take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for watching the Electronic Cafe. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.